Good afternoon. It's Darren from Dire Outdoors again. I am outside on a drizzly November day. It actually sleeted last night here, which got me thinking about snowshoeing. It also got me thinking about the common questions that we get asked around this time of year around snowshoeing. So I thought I'd take a few minutes to try to answer those. So the majority of the questions we get answered fall under one larger question, which is, who is snowshoeing for? Who can do it? All that sort of related questions. And then my simple answer is pretty much, if you can walk, you can snowshoe. Snowshoeing doesn't require any really technical skills. It's not like swimming or mountain biking, tennis, anything like that. It's something that if you can walk, you're pretty much walking. You just have big flat things on the bottom of your feet. Of course, there's some advanced skills that you can learn. How to go up and down hills more efficiently, how to deal with walking, off cambered and all that sort of stuff. But you would figure that stuff out on your own eventually. And like I said, no really special skills or training. So if you can walk, you can snowshoe. So that brings us to our second question that we get asked, which is, what age is appropriate for snowshoeing? Kind of hard to answer on the upper end. It's basically dependent on how physically fit you are and how good your balance is, stuff like that. But on the lower end of the spectrum, when we're talking like little kids, it's really around, can they walk through the snow and not fall down all the time? So for my kids, they started about, I think it was like 3 or 4, we started taking them out. Now we didn't take them where it was 3 feet of snow. We took them where the snow was packed down on a snowshoeing trail, or where there wasn't a ton of snow. Or they would follow my wife and I so that we would pack the snow down first before they went through it. But they did great. It was slow. We didn't do huge distances because can be a little tiring, especially for those little legs. But they did great. So they use snowshoes like these. This is like a little kid's snowshoe. It's just basically a piece of plastic. Doesn't have anything fancy. It does have that big claw on there to keep them from slipping. But really easy, really inexpensive, and easy to get kids outside in the winter and give them something to do. This is probably up to age 7, maybe 8. And then they move on to the next size, which is this youth snowshoe. Pretty much like an adult snowshoe. It has a pivoting footbed, binding, like an adult snowshoe. Still has great traction, a little more traction than the kids one, but they're just a little less expensive than an adult and a little bit shorter because they don't need to carry as much weight. After you grow out of that one, then you move into your adult recreational snowshoe. So this is great for pretty much all adults, almost all terrain. It has a little fancier binding, has lots of traction on the bottom for going up and down icy things, and it's really great for pretty much everybody. Of course, snowshoes, they are fitted by how much you weigh, or more, I guess you could more accurately described as how much weight you're going to have on them. So you could be a really lightweight person but have a big heavy backpack on, and that would warrant maybe having larger snowshoes. So if you're a heavier person like me, or you're carrying a backpack, that snowshoe that I showed you, these ones can be fitted with a tail to make them 6 inches longer, give you additional flotation. So if you're walking through powdery snow, or you're heavier, or you're lighter but carrying a heavier load, something like a larger snowshoe like this would be great. And then, if you are always doing that, this is my snowshoe that I use. It's a mountaineering snowshoe, and it's just big all the time because I'm big all the time. So anyway, there's lots of different types of snowshoes to choose from, but even just that basic recreational snowshoe is great for most people, and the people that come out with us, they use those and they just love those snowshoes. So as long as, so pretty much any age, as long as you can walk, you can snowshoe. All right, and that brings us to our next question that we get asked, which is, how fit do you have to be to go snowshoeing? And really, you don't have to be fit to go snowshoeing, because you can alter how you go snowshoeing to match your fitness level. There's 2 main types of snowshoeing. There's walking on snowshoe trails, and then there's bushwhacking. So let's start with walking on snowshoe trails. So it's what it sounds like. you're walking on a trail that's been defined by somebody, and a lot of times other people have walked there already, so the snow is packed down a little bit, and it's a little bit easier to walk than if you were to walk through fresh snow. So if you go on snowshoe trails, you won't have to work quite as hard, and that's a great way if you're not super physically fit to be able to go snowshoeing and not have your heart blow up. The other way is bushwhacking, and bushwhacking is you're blazing your own trail through fresh snow. The snow could be really deep, and as a result, it is or it can be very physically demanding, definitely cardiovascular, and you'll get tired if you do it for an extended period of time. So if you're not the most physically fit, you might want to start on a snowshoe trail, see how that goes, and then once you get more fit, go bushwhacking. Or if you aren't physically fit but you just want to go bushwhacking for a little bit, hey, try it out. It's super fun. That's my preferred way of going snowshoeing, and you'll get warmed up, you'll burn tons of calories, and you'll have a good time at the same time. All right, and that brings us to our last main question, which is, do you have to have good balance to go snowshoeing? For some reason, a lot of people that come out with us, they think they're going to fall when they go snowshoeing, or they're going to slip or something like that. And so let's get into that a little bit. So when you go snowshoeing, these snowshoes, as I mentioned, they have these big claws on the bottom of it and these rails along the side to help prevent you from slipping. So your chances of slipping, even when it's really icy, are very small. You do slip a little bit on snow, or I wouldn't say slip, but you can slide a little bit. And that's just something that you get used to, and it doesn't take very long to get used to it. So your chances of falling aren't great. Plus, snowshoes are wide and long, so you really have a good contact area with the snow. And, we rarely have people fall unless they're wanting to fall, like kids. The other thing you can do if you want to have more balance, or you're worried about falling, is you can use a trekking pole. So this is just a summer trekking pole. Obviously it's collapsed right now, but in the wintertime you just put a bigger basket on the bottom of it so it holds up on the snow a little bit better. But these are great for giving you additional balance. They're great if you're wearing a backpack, if you're pulling a sled, if you're going up or down a lot of hills. These are great. So then the question is, do you want to use snow or trekking poles? And it's a personal preference. When we take groups out, I usually bring a couple pairs, and there's always people at the beginning that say, yep, I want to use the trekking poles. And I would say probably 90% of the time, when we get about halfway through the hike, they are done with them. They say, I don't like having stuff in my hands for that long time. I'm tired of holding on to them. So they give them to me, I collapse them, and I put them in my backpack, and they finish without the trekking poles. So before you go and buy a set, I would certainly try it out from somebody. Just borrow them, because they're about $100, $130 for a decent pair, and obviously you don't want to spend that amount of money if you don't like it. Another thing you can do, and what I do, is I always, like I mentioned, I bring a backpack with. So if I'm trekking around with my trekking poles and I get tired of using them, or I'm in a certain sort of terrain where they're becoming more of a pain than it's worth, I'll just collapse them, put them in my backpack, and go on my merry way. And then if I get to a different spot where they'd be beneficial, I pull them out and use them again. So that's a good thing about trekking poles is they're pretty light, and if you have a backpack on, they're easy to pull out and put away. All right, so that is about all I have for you. If you have any other questions, please don't hesitate to contact us. We'll answer those as quickly as we can. And if you're looking to go out with a group snowshoeing this winter, please give us a holler. We'd love to be your guides. Have a great day. Let's get some snow. Peace out.